well, a lot of the work I do is about hacking the system, right? So I'm not particularly say hacking an electronic parts or hacking a gadget or a toy, but I'm more interested in hacking into a bigger system, a social system, a distribution system, you know. So in a certain way, this is my art practice, you know. So like say composting the city, it is hacking into a composter system set up by the government, but it's not doing anything good. So by the way that I'm setting up these very locally utilized composting system, I'm hacking into a bigger system. So that is the way that all my practice, and not so much confrontational as a whistleblower, but actually going into a more like a parallel development to say, wow, I can do this. What the government can do in a bigger way with a lot of money, what I can do with little money, and with the people, with the community, what we could do. Reform the city, which I would advocate for it. At the same time, Reform the City is initiated by Hernani Diaz, who is a Portuguese living in Barcelona. When I met Hernani, we met each other at Barcelona in Hanga Media Lab. At that time, in 2009, I was making my own project called Yuki, in which I deal with 4 tons of e-trash. And Reform the City was also doing a residency at Hanga Media Lab, and they were working with different kind of irrigation water system. Reform the City has been doing different workshops to promote the urban farming, also using different electronic devices like the sensors to actually testing all the kind of moisture, the temperature, or the kind of automatic farming, particularly in a kind of urban environment. Of course, my own interest in Reform the City is also working with the idea of how to connect with the rural farming and the urban farming together. Since we have this kind of Reform the City Paris, so I became a more strong a member as a Reform the City Paris in Paris. Yeah. So in a way, the reform or a lot of DIY movement is actually say, well, you can actually produce a very simple device using the basic electronic wiring system, using the basic CPB board. So you go back to the basic, you know. So in a certain way, you are not trying to create more e-waste, actually. During our residency at La Guédivique, with the title called La Graine et la Compost, during this residency, I was really more focused on the compost, particularly the compost in the city, how to compost in the city. So I started a project called Composting the City rather than Reform the City. One reason is that I can see that many cities still lack the possibility of handling all our food waste, you know. So we were talking about e-waste, but I was really going into the bio-waste. And Composting the City is really trying to work out a composting system that can actually connect the household with the local garden, with urban garden. The kind of food waste that we have been producing is tremendous. You know, at the same time, many people had no food, right? So there is, I think, in the same time, it's like so beautiful, so eco-friendly that we talk about urban garden. We're building beautiful jardin everywhere. At the same time, there is a waste problem, you know, the food waste problem. That I really hope that by making this project Composting the City, we will call up the attention and how to create a system that food waste will go back to regenerate the urban gardens. In my own work, I always propose that there will eventually be a crash. an internet crash, and eventually we would have to eat all the e-waste that we left behind. I remember in 2009 when I did a project in Hanggar, I collected 4 tons of e-trash. This is like 1 day of e-trash collected at Barcelona City. These 4 tons of e-trash became a treasure almost for DIY people, because everybody would come and try to dig through the trash and to discover different electronic parts and to see what they can use out of these parts. I think the DIY or do it with others, all these movements would certainly be always there, because people need each other, people need to go back to the raw material. You know, I think the raw material in terms of electronic parts or in terms of the farming is the same.